Welcome to the NIOS. Now, we are going to learn about population as a resource. All of us know people discuss that the population of India is a great problem. You may also be feeling the same. You may be aware that the population of India is more than 1 billion and it is still growing. It may overtake the population of China within the next couple of decades, eventually making India the most populous nation of the world. It is a difficult task to provide food to the large population which is growing day by day. Along with this, they also need to be provided house for living, clean air and water to survive, medical facilities to make them stay healthy, and to provide them job. It is in this way the population is quite often seen as a burden, a major hindrance to development and quality of life of the people. But is it completely true? Let us think and understand. Has population not been useful anyway? Has it not been an asset also? A resource for the country? You must be thinking here, what does resource mean? Resource is anything that is useful to human beings. It can be water, air, land, chair, and table, etc. Are you not interested in knowing how population can act as a resource? Let's try to understand that. Today, India is considered as a leading nation in the world in terms of human power. We have been exporting our knowledge through people to different countries in various fields such as information technology, nursing and medicine. One of the major contributing factors for this has been the young, educated, and skilled people of our country. Do you have any idea how much population of our country is young? It is as large as 65% population. They are contributing to the development of not only our country, but many of the foreign countries also. In this context, population is an asset for the economy, the greatest resource of the country rather than a burden. Now, we shall know how population of our country can be viewed as the greatest resource. Meaning of population. Generally, we understand that population means a collection of people. Let's go through the meaning of population. This term has been defined differently in different contexts. But here, population means collection of people living in a given geographic area. The collection of people is seen and understood in terms of number. So, population means total number of people living in a specific area, that is village, city, district, state, country, etc. Population can be an asset if proper management is done. This means if the power of population is utilized properly, it can be beneficial for us. Therefore, population is also considered as a resource. Meaning of resource. You must be thinking, what is resource? It is something that can be used and reused. Let us look around the room. We find things like furniture, books, notebooks, pen, cups, and others. All these are our resources as they are useful to us. Anything that is useful for human beings are resources. They can be used and reused in our daily life. Various examples of resources are wind, sun, plastic, forest, crops, water, books, furniture, and electricity, etc. Sources of resources. Now, let us try to trace the source of these resources. These are made out of the things which we get from nature. The furniture is made from timber that we obtain from the forest. Books and notebooks are made from the wood pulp. Books and notebooks are made from the wood pulp, which comes from the forest. The pen is made up of plastic, which is the byproduct of petroleum. The cup is made of clay found in the soil. These and many more things which are part of our daily life are extracted or manufactured from the natural resources. It is the people who, with their physical and mental efforts, convert the natural resources into various goods of utility. Population is one such resource that occurs naturally. You might have seen women making mat out of dry leaves. These women are example of human resource as they are making use of dry leaves to create mats. Do you know the government of India created a Ministry of Human Resource Development MHRD in 1985 in place of its earlier Ministry of Education and Culture? Some of the states have also done so. This suggests that the idea of people being a human resource has gained acceptance. You must be thinking that if resources are things that are used and reused, how can population be considered a resource? We all know that the crops which are cultivated in the fields are produced by people. Similarly, goods which are manufactured in factories are produced by people. People of the country produce and develop various facilities and services to make their lives comfortable. The facilities, whether these are means of transport and communication, schools, colleges, hospitals, electricity producing units, infrastructure for irrigation, and others, play a significant role in the development of a country. During early days, when satellites were not invented, we did not have much idea about space. The population was not skilled for such things. Human beings invented satellites by acting as a resource. So, population became a resource in getting knowledge of the sun, its exact distance from the earth, how earth moves on its orbit, etc. We now get beautiful pictures of the earth with green colored land, blue water bodies, and white clouds. For producing and developing all such facilities and converting them into useful resources, human beings play the role of the best resource. How a particular thing can be used depends upon the skill of the population. Without human beings, other resources cannot be developed and utilized properly. Therefore, the number as well as the quality of people collectively is a real and ultimate source, is a real and ultimate resource of a country. Because of this reason, the government has launched massive campaign of skill development called the National Skill Development Mission in India in the year 2015. By this, it intends to use the population of the country as a resource and asset. In India, population and related study is done by an organization called the Census of India. This includes counting of the number of people living in an area, number of deaths in an year, number of births in an year, number of members in a family, which is known as family size, and likewise. You must have seen a person coming at your doorstep asking about the details of your family. If not, ask your parents about that. They will tell you about such persons. They have ID cards of Census of India. They collect information almost every 10 years, and the population data is published after every 10 years. For example, the latest census data on population is of 2011. Before that, it was for 2001, and likewise. Census can be defined as a procedure of systematically acquiring and recording information about the members of a given population. The term is used mostly in connection with national population and door-to-door censuses to be taken every year. The Government of India, with the assistance of states, has been conducting census to collect data about various demographic and socio-economic aspects of our population. Can you imagine how old is the study of population in our country? It dates back to the Rig Veda. Do you know about Vedas? Yes, they are our ancient scriptures, and Rig Veda is the oldest of them. In Rig Veda, it is mentioned that population was scanty and spread over wide areas in small villages. The Brahmana literature around 800 to 600 BC reveals that some of the villages had grown into towns and capitals with an urban mode of life. So old is the study of population and its characteristics. The first modern census in India was carried out around the year 1820 with the study of Travancore and Cochin states. This means that during the time of British rule, the first modern census study was carried out. Can you think of the reason why they introduced such study in India, which was their colony? Yes, they wanted the number of population and their assets to levy taxes, which was otherwise not being possible in an efficient manner. The sheer number of people may be a liability, but the skill and knowledge of population becomes the human capital of a country. Take, for example, yourself. You must be having some skills. You can draw well, you can write well, you can cook well, play a sport well, or clean a place very nicely. These are your skills, and you are a resource to your family. You are not a liability or burden, but an asset. But to act as a resource, you need to be healthy and happy. Similarly, for converting the population into resource, the country has to invest a lot in the form of improving the health and nutritional status of the people. Education and specialized training has to be made available to them. Therefore, investment by the government has to be done for improving the quality of the people. It is essential that every individual develops to the fullest capability and is engaged in the development process of the country. It is therefore important to understand that people as human resource are both the object of development and also a participant in the development. As we discussed earlier, the number of people may not be called resource, but there are certain factors like their skill and knowledge which convert these numbers into useful resource. Do you know these days instead of number of people in an area, a term called human resource or human capital is being used? Human capital means the characteristics of a person that are productive in the economic context. It refers to the stock of productive skills and technical knowledge of the population. So now we can move towards the factors that influence the role of a population as a human resource. Right? You may infer from the above discussion that the education, health, and nutritional status of the people and their specialized skill determine the quality of population as a human resource. But besides these, there are key population characteristics that have significant impact on the role of population as a resource. These include the number of young people who can work to earn, number of old and children who are dependent on the young population, etc., which will be discussed later. Till now in this video, we talked about population as a resource. I hope you understand it well. If you have any query or you want to give any feedback, you can mail us at sign sign language @nios.ac.in. All the best. Thank you for watching.